Okay. So what we're doing is we're making a ShareCode so recently was some World of Warcraft, and there you can import and export your talent loadout, and I found this to be an interesting thing I want to implement for my engine. So I make here a little module description. This is just copy paste, and yeah, it's called magique. So we have a namespace here, only using a single namespace instead of using a lot of namespaces, for example, for the different submodules, as it's just easier for the user and less complex if you use single namespace. So yeah, I mean, I'm using C++. So the first question you want to ask yourself, do I want to use a compile time or do I want to use a runtime? For example, what you could do is you could so maybe let's talk first about what the ShareCode is. So I mean, the ShareCode is just I want to make a more general implementation, and the more general definition I would give is you have for example, this is copied from World of Warcraft. You have like a encoded string that exports to copyable text in the end, but it includes data that's encoded on a bit level, right? So these letters are obviously individual bytes, but you can encode data on the sub-byte level, which yeah, just allows you to store more things. So you want a couple of things out of that. First, you want a nice interface on the software side, but you also want it to store data efficiently, so it should be as small as possible, and it should be fast, I guess. So that's the three. It should be small in data, so which is directly proportional with the length of the export string, so it fits anywhere you want. It has to be fast, which it will always be, because it's a very cheap calculations, and you want a nice software interface. That's the main goals. And so for the first thing is yeah, and so the foundational building blocks of such a ShareCode are then some kind of data, but they need to structure the data in some way. So for example, in World of Warcraft, it might be the information skill 3 is leveled at level 12. So if you then have 10 of those informations, you can exactly retrace the talent. So at level 1, I used the first skill. At level 2, I leveled the second skill, and so on. So you need to encode that. In this case, it would be just two numbers, right? I have the talent number, and then the level, at which level, right? So I skill talent 1 at level 1. So it's just two numbers. Then to satisfy our second goal, we want to be as efficient as possible. We can define an upper and I guess a min and max value, but that's something that we have to think about. Maybe because maybe we can get away with just a max value, but then how do we represent negative numbers, right? So we wanna define a boundary, or we wanna give the user the option to define a boundary. Because if the user defines a boundary, for example, this can maximum be a value of 255, it fits into 1 byte, right? And if we don't know that, it can be, let's say 4 byte, right? Like for a normal integer. We just assume that then for numeric types that they're gonna take up 4 bytes. And it's obviously gonna be 4 times as big, and yeah. Yeah, so this would just be two numbers. Yeah, and then you can just add really any any data blocks you want, right? So you want to give the user the ability to specify what kind of properties he wants in the ShareCode. So then, so then another very big thing is, okay, maybe now let's come back to the compile time thing I started with. So now you can ask yourself if you want to use compile time or runtime, because what you could do, you could make this a template, a variadic template, and just give the user the ability to define at compile time a format. For example, here I would then in some way specify like this, right? I would say I want a single data piece that's 2 numbers, then I want another piece that's 2 numbers, and so on, right? And then I would maybe define it like this. My ShareCode has 3 blocks, and each block has like 2 numbers. Yeah, I mean, this is nice, you know. You always want to think about if you can use the compile time C++, the template, metaprogramming, but in this case, for one, it limits building your ShareCode at runtime, right? So for example, in WoW, if you have, maybe there's like, you have 60 levels, right? And at each level you can pick a talent. So you would have 60 of these, and you have, you'd be using templates, you would kind of have to write them by hand. There will probably be, I mean, you could probably make a template that expands 60 times, but it's just extra complexity. And if you think about it, you don't really gain anything from it. What you would gain is you would know at compile time the exact size of the format, because you know all the formats up front. Yeah, but that's it. You could at compile, I mean, you couldn't generate the ShareCode at compile time because you still need the data. But I don't really see much sense in this being compile time. So we pick runtime, which is fine. Then the next big question is importing and exporting, and specifically the information. So it's all about information, right? If for example have the data format we just had here, right? So you have a talent and a level number, right? These are 2 numbers, and you don't, on the receiving side, you don't know what they mean, right? So if you then generate a ShareCode, let's say the ShareCode is like 2 letters. In this case, I don't know. Let's just say A. It's wrong, but so it would be 2 letters. It's the ShareCode right there. And on the receiving side, you only see then the numbers, right? So you would just, so this is like 1, 1. And you don't know what it means. So you have 2 options. Either you encode the meaning of the data inside the ShareCode. So for example, I would have to encode that the first number means talent and the second number means level. I would have to put like an encoding up front. So I know how to interpret these 2 numbers. And also maybe these numbers could be longer, right? If they're like really big, I might have to use like 2 letters to represent the first one, right? So I would also need to encode the information how long this first number is interpreted. Yeah, and you don't want to do that because it's a lot of data. Like just talking about it, like how would you encode like all the information we just talked about, like how to interpret the numbers, what those numbers means, how long they can be. Kind of sounds complicated, and you would need to compress it a lot, and you would kind of have to do it for each package or make a combined index up front, and I don't know, just doesn't really sound nice. So we don't want to do that, which makes it a bit less portable. But what I do here, I mean, maybe we should still have the possibility for the first option open, because it's just really universal, because then a ShareCode is like a full package. Like you can just read everything you need to like interpret the ShareCode is inside the ShareCode, which is easy. But then what I'm going for right now is that you get a ShareCode and you import it by specifying the format, right? So you say import, you already have the information how to interpret it, and then basically the ShareCode only contains data. So here you make, and then make anything, import, and then you basically so the layer of the class is still put up, but basically here you get back some data, and then you say like import from string, and then you get the string. Make a const ShareCode. Right, so inside you would need a format to import a string, right? Which then means that the ShareCode only has to contain the data, and because the format already contains the information how to interpret the format. So how practical is this? I mean, if you think about our example, World of Warcraft, you export the ShareCode from the talent, and then after this example, you would also have to import. You could only use this exported ShareCode to import talents, right? And this is completely fine in this case. So I think, I don't know if there are more export options in World of Warcraft, maybe like UI settings, right? Just imagine there would be a ShareCode for UI settings and for your talent loader. You couldn't, so with the first option I said, when all the information is stored inside the ShareCode, you could just mix and match them. There could just be one import interface, and you could paste the ShareCode, and then it sees, okay, it's a ShareCode for talent, so it's a ShareCode for interface. Which would be a bit unpractical on the UI side, right? Because you would have one import UI for the ShareCode, but it could be like two things, right? So on the second method, you would need to specifically go to the import talents and then paste your ShareCode there, which makes a lot more sense on the UX side as well, right? So there's this limitation where you have to know the format and then give it only the data, right? But this allows us to better abide by our second rule, being space efficient. So space efficiency, and then our rule number one was software interface. Clean, easy to use. And then number three was, fast, but it's always fast. Right, so, yeah, so, I mean, that's, I guess, the introduction out of the way. Now I can actually focus on how to implement this. What I have here, so what I just do here, just all write it in the header. In the end, like all this code here above can probably just go to the implementation side, so it's not visible. Because in the end we want point one, we want the user interface as clean as possible. Right, so let's backtrack here and look at this. So the naming, I'm not 100% fine with it, because I'm also using kind of this ShareCode namespace with the naming here. It's in front everywhere, which is fine. But yeah, I mean the header is called ShareCode, but yeah, I've not spent too much time on the name, because I mean you could name it something with like import, export, or like string something. Yeah, but I don't know, I feel like this is okay. So you have your format. As I explained earlier, the format holds the information on how to interpret the data. So right now it just contains a vector So you use on the public header, I use the standard types because most users know them, and so it's easy to use and understand. So I use and it's private. So these classes, are meant to be used by the user. So the user actually is meant to create an object of this class. So ShareCode format my format, right? And then the user can add a property, and so on. So maybe I'll actually keep going with this thread. So the user adds a property, and then we also have the string here. Maybe something you've been looking at for some time, because there's a const char star name. So this is a bit interesting, I guess, because adding names has two things again. So if you or like just adding, so name is just a index, basically, like a way to access an element, right? And it's an easy way to access it, like a human readable way. But what it brings you is like easy access, right? Easy readable. But what doesn't give you is procedurally accessing it, right? Because you can't, for example, if you have 10 properties with names, with the string name 1 to 10, if we would have to access them by name in a for loop, it's kind of annoying, right? So you have to go for I. Interesting. For I less than 10, and then go here, and then you have to use toString, which in this case actually doesn't do an allocation, right? Because it's less than 13. It's the small buffer optimization, so it's actually quite fast. But still, you would have to generate a string and then index by string. So going back to our example of the 60 talent for the 60 levels, you can't just specify names. You would also have to add an option to be able to procedurally or programmatically add properties and query them. Right. So it's always a double-edged sword with names. It's easier for small things if you only have like 5 properties, but if you have more. So let's maybe think about this for a second. Problem is I don't want to have two methods, like having 2 identically named methods with like an index I is annoying, and it just complicates the user interface. Problem here is, so first of all, you have to give like some documentation. So here obviously order is very important. So the order in which you add properties actually is important. So you have to like document this. Then I don't know, like a buff. So this above here is for like general header documentation. Then you want to add like small, like I'm adding a comment to each method anyway. But so I don't know. I don't know if we even need a name here, right? The problem is that if it's only numbers, you'd kind of have to like store the number, right? If I add like 10 properties, and then if the 10th property means like the name or like my age, right? Then later, if I want to access age, I have to save like index 10 means age. So if I access the format at index 10, then I get the age, right? And if I use names, I can just say get a property age, and then I get the correct one. So yeah, maybe you can. Okay, yeah, maybe it's kind of just. Yeah, maybe it just actually doesn't matter. So I think this works. So as I said, ordering is important, and yeah, so if every time you add a new property, it's just appended to the end, right? Like pushback comes back down. And yeah, it just doesn't have to have a name, right? If it has a name, you can just do a name lookup. And if it doesn't, it just doesn't have a lookup. And you can still access it by index. Which actually brings us to the next question, right? To like answer all this stuff, we actually need to think, can the user access the properties or the format? So we can add here, maybe as like so the removal methods, I want to make bools or return types. I can return if the removal was successful. But do we actually want that, right? I can say then remove property with the. We can either do it by name, or we can do it by the index, right? And I guess using index is fine because I can just throw or like log a warning, see if it's out of bounds, and yeah, it should be fine. Because I mean, this ShareCode format is also not something that's used. I mean, sure, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's not essential, right? If it fails, it fails. But you get the warnings in debug, and on runtime it doesn't crash your game or something, so it's not. It's okay if there's like an error path. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So you can remove properties. Yeah, and if the name, if you pass null pointer here, it's just ignored. If a name here is null pointer, yeah, it's just not matched. Yeah, that should be fine. So I can already, like, it's always good to just write the documentation before, because just, you define what the method should do, then implement it. So I always formulate the documentation and start by actually specifying what the method does. So this method in the end returns true if the property with the given name was successfully removed. Right, and then I can just returns true if the property at the given index was successfully removed. Yeah. Okay, this is fine. This is the easier part, and so adding this. So I always want to give power users, or like you always want to give advanced methods. If you design an interface, you just should always have like methods that are a bit more obscure for the people who know stuff, so they can use the knowledge in order to gain more control, right? And this is the method in this case. So if a user exactly knows how many bits the data is gonna have, just let them specify it, right? And yeah, but also name it kind of accordingly, right? Like add generic properties, yeah. So add a new format with the length something like that, with a maximum length. Can always use this of bits. I mean, this, if you write documentation or like comments, this is always really nice, right? It's like you directly reference the parameter. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes it can be not as easy to understand. Maximum, yeah, I guess so. You want to specify exactly that it's in bits length. Something like this, right? So usually it's bytes, but this is actually bits, right? Okay, so a generic property is also easy for us. We just we just have alpha bits, and then if the data, but the data, adding the data is later on, comes later on. But in this case, if the data added would we have more bits than 4, we just throw an exception. Or we log, I'm not using exceptions here actually, but we just log an error and just return abort. Well, not stood abort, right? But we just return from the method. Okay, so then actually comes the hard, like the more complicated ones. So then we have a number property. So first of all, I guess I would guess most information, or like the best kind of information you want to store in the ShareCodes are numbers, right? You can store everything in a number. Yeah, so maybe we actually want to have like 2 methods that have to do with numbers. Yeah, because just if we actually need them, but this is like the most used one, so I want to give some variety. So first I want to use templates here, so the user doesn't has to specify the concrete size, and then by giving a max or min value we can infer the bit length, right? That's the thing. So do we actually need the min value? Is the question. I would fear we kind of need it if we just give a max value. If it's a max value of 255, the user wants to represent the number, I don't know, minus 128 or minus 1000. Yeah, we can't really infer that much, right? So I mean the bit length, because the bit length is proportional to a range of numbers you can represent, right? So the actual bit length is dependent on the range you want to represent. So if it's 0 to 55, then it's just 1 byte. But otherwise, if you need numbers and minus numbers, it's obviously more. And then if it is actually, I mean, I guess we actually don't care if it's minus or plus, right? Because it's just binary. But it needs more bits. Yeah. So we kind of just need the range. But what we can do with Milnet, we could just say that that the user gives us a range, so we infer that it starts by 0, right? Which actually, I don't know how easy it is to understand. Maybe something like adds a new. Oh, I guess it's property actually. Property with right, then I actually want to make the name optionally as well. So adds a new with the given name. I guess I don't have to specify it because it's okay. So then maybe just do the so I guess we don't actually, so I'm thinking about if the user can access properties, but I guess he actually can't, because if you would be able to access, he would be able to retrieve a format and then change it, right? And you should only be allowed to change it over the adding. But this then doesn't allow to, like, you can't then at runtime change the format, right? Because you can only specify the properties at creation, right? Like in order to control the length of a property, you would have to add a new one. You can't change from an existing one. Yeah, maybe to answer this, we look above and think about what a property actually is. So yeah, we have this. Here's a property. It's actually the size we can. Here's a small type for that. It doesn't actually matter because it's padded to 16, but still. Yeah, we're using a constant name here. Yeah, because it's just more space efficient than a string, like a std string. This is just always allocated. I mean, actually, it's null or allocated string. Null or terminated allocated string. Right, so we just save. I guess default size, make it 0 and then make it in so it looks nice. Yeah. I guess we need to add a deconstructor. It's actually not default. Right, then implement that over here. Can just leave the test method. Yeah. Okay, so is this actually a property, right? Does it need any more? So maybe let's implement this method. So in this case, I just say properties, pushback, and then I pass the name. So I actually need to do a allocation. I mean, actually, it's always terminated, not allocated string, right? Because yeah, as soon. Well, I guess if you're specific. I mean, the user can't create an object, right? So this is actually just for. Yeah, it's gonna go into the internal types. So yeah, you can do internal types. So it's out of user space, and then it's actually doesn't really matter. Yeah, pushback. Then we get a name string. So when I actually copy it, we just do the the name. But I guess this is actually not 0 terminated, right? Whoops. Ask ChatGPT. I would actually guess it's okay, no, it does. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually 0 terminated, that's good. And then we always use const. Okay, so that's fine. Then we can also for I guess I need a reference here. P reference and properties free p dot name. That's a problem. guess it's const. How to actually free this? I mean, I can just const cast it, right? But I don't know if I want to do that. I guess. I mean, do it actually have to be const? I guess it actually shouldn't be, right? Okay, it's fine. Then we define the Windows thing. Secure no warnings. Right. Okay. Hello? Alright, templates. Yeah, so for the templates, I obviously need to implement them in a header. I create a new section. I do it inside the namespace. Yeah. So so maybe finish all our methods. So we have another property. We give a range. That's a new property. How do we formulate this? So I want the value. Range. I mean, I guess I want to know the amount of different numbers you want to represent, right? Property with that stores a number of the given type. And then for the argument, I always use this like two tabs, then semicolon, and then definition. Yeah, so then I can actually do it like a static assert. Exactly that. V is const. Okay. So it has to be a number, and has to be a number range. The different numbers. Okay, so for example, if like a range of 10,000. There's actually custom mountain. Then rename like this. So name down there is also amount. yeah, if you say just 255, right, like just 1 byte and so on. Okay, so this is the number. Then I guess I want a add text. So what I thought about here is okay. I mean, if you only use ASCII, right? If you're only using the ASCII, you can actually represent 2 characters per byte, right? It's only 128, which 128 should only be using 4 bits, or no? No. It's 7. Okay. True. Right. So I guess that's that. But I mean, still. Right? So max len const like this. Don't need type. It's in here. That can store text up to the given maximum length. Right. Because I mean, all the thing about length is really important, right? Because yeah, because like when you in the end when you import it, when you pass the input string, you exactly have to know when one number ends and when another one starts, right? And yeah, and because you want to make it as efficient as possible, you want to use the least amount of bits, right? I could just make every number 4 bytes, but then would waste a lot of memory. Yeah. Yeah, and it also adds padding. I mean, I guess yeah. So the thing is, like, do I allow variable length or not, right? Because like here I could just encode the text into the ShareCode, and if it's terminated, it's over, right? So I guess I actually would not need to know the max length. But with this information I have here, I can, before I generate the string, I already know how long it can, or like how long it is, right? I can definitely say, well, it can deterministically say how long the ShareCode is. If I do it like that, which, I mean, I guess you don't actually care, right? I guess I don't. I don't care. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's now it's, I guess, weird for the user to see this, right? Because you only have like 2 arguments here, length, and then nothing here. But I don't know. It should be fine. I guess I want to make this like 2 sections. So yeah, I'm gonna use. Yeah, actually not. I like just a second. Okay. Just thinking about if it actually works if I don't know the length, but I mean, yeah, it should. The problem is, yeah, I mean, That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, one problem is that I only know, for example, for all the properties after text, I only know their position after the text has been added, right? But this is not a problem because I'm only generating the ShareCode at the function call and not prior. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, I actually want to implement this, the importing and exporting now. So the other caveat, I guess, for this interface is then how you export and how you import. Yeah, so to get the ShareCode string, you need to actually pass the format, which only holds, as I said, information about how to interpret the data. You actually need to pass it the data. And yeah, for the ShareCode data, it's actually just the same, right? So add data. I don't know. Just thinking maybe if it's, I don't know, because it's like it's a bit of a way around the actual solution, right? The problem is, as I said, you don't want to encode all the interpretation data within the ShareCode, and because I obviously could let the user specify the data right here, right? But then I'm creating like a specific, like then I would have to rename a class, right? Because it's not the format, because it's both the format and the data. Like I specifically wanna take this apart, right? Because then I can have like a format, right? The format I create, when my program starts, and then I have my format, and then just generate data. And then I can just format that get export from this data, and then I can say all the data is, equals my format, and then import, right? I get the import string and I get the data out. So yeah, the format is just stays the same, and I just pass in the data, get the string, pass in the string, get the data. Which is, I mean, it's a nice workflow, right? But the interface to understand. Yeah, but then for this, so yeah, this means I want to add a method where you get a ShareCode back, right? A data back. The problem then is that this is exposed to the user, which I guess is fine. Yeah, I mean, if I do it like this, right, the vector is allocated, and then you pass back the vector. So every time you create a ShareCode, there's some allocation. Well, that is fine, right? Like you would expect it to happen anyway, right? Yeah. Yeah, but then it's just not persistent, right? So like each time you create a ShareCode, because I guess you could also make it like that there's one data. Yeah, I could like kind of put the data in here, right, somehow, and then there's always one set of data, and then just modify it. Yeah, the problem with this is that, like, yeah, the state of the data is kind of obfuscated, right? You don't know, like, what's, maybe if there's 60 levels, you know, you don't know the state of the 60 levels, or like what you skilled. So you pretty much have to set every data point anyway, right? Each time you want to generate a string, you have to set each data point anyway, because you have to make sure it's the right. So you don't actually need the data that was previously stored. So it's actually just about getting rid of the allocation, which is just not worth it here, right? Because it's like a few hundred bytes. Yeah, Okay, so I want to add a get method here that actually returns the data, because I want to do some error checking. Because so here I generate my nice format, my properties, and then I actually need to set the data of the properties, right? So if you look above here, I have, yeah. So I want to add some information so I can make sure everything is correct and provide clear error reporting for the user. So actually here I guess I want to store the type. So later when the user adds data, I don't know. So and then we also just said that the string doesn't have a size. So that's kind of annoying. But we'll see. Yeah. Get. I mean get data, I have to rename this, right? Because get data is misleading, it needs to be a better name. ShareCode. I also thought about making like a functor, right? Like instead of passing the data, you pass in a function that generates the data, but I guess like this you can also reuse it by your own, right? So this still allows then to skip the allocation if you just keep a ShareCode object yourself and then just reset the data. Yeah, but then again, right, this leaves the chance open for the user to create a ShareCode object by its own, but I can actually inhibit it, right? By making the constructor private. True. Alright, so I can't create an action object, so I need to use the get methods. Get format data, maybe something like this, and returns an object, returns the a, because it's, you know, it's just generic, returns a say data. This is for this format. And then you want to point the user into the correct direction, right? So yeah, knows how to use the method. So this to set the and there you get the data back. Okay, like this, I like it. I think that's so. Yeah, specifically points the user. You need to set the value of each property in the data. The data being like this, right? So we use the same name to refer to the same object. The data in order to generate. Export it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is for this returns the ShareCode of string ShareCode note that string can only be ported by the same format. Right. Whoops. Let's actually look at this quick. Wow. Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess I like it. So now we need to add the data here. So I first need to define. I guess null pointer means 0, right? So it initializes just to 0. But we need to define a default state, right? Because I mean the data exists, right? Or like the format exists, and if you just export it without setting it, it needs to have a value, which we define in here at 0. ShareCode block. We also so we will sort the member variables after the size, right? So then you avoid padding. So this is 8 bytes the union, then 4 bytes integer, and then 1 byte enum. Okay. Just make this integer. Bro. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So ShareCode. Do I actually need this? I could have 2 vectors. Because essentially it's the same thing as the property, right? I'm just saving the 8 bytes here of the data. But then, I mean, it begs the question if you have to, why you need to split it then, right? But yeah, like I just want a property here and then the data here, but I also need information about the property, like its type and its size. So yeah, I guess I mean this is an internal type, right? So it's naming. I mean there's everything is here is internal. I guess we actually make it internal already. And it needs to be public because of the templates, right? That's sure. Looks a bit ugly, but the user shouldn't look there. It's private. Doesn't need to be. Oh, and actually I don't need to. Well, okay. Like this. Set Dana. Template. I guess it's only, I don't have to make it a const reference, but I guess just make it in case. But it's only really arithmetic. Actually, const has a pointer, right? So I can make it. I mean, I could. Doesn't matter. So set the data. Index. Set the data after specified after. something like this, right? It obviously kind of would be nice if these methods kind of return the thing and then you assign it. That's fine. Yeah, and you can actually do that without operator overloading at least. Because you need to have access to the internals, right? Because I need to check if the pass data fits within the size and so on. Okay. And I can pass points here, I can pass data, so it's really fine. So let's actually implement some stuff. So actually I usually have the header left, the right, the implementation on the left. I need to type so on the left. Okay. So ShareCode data, it's called blocks. Second. I can call it the same. Implement this. Okay. So set data for I can make a const p properties fp dot. Interesting. Why do I not? I guess I need the name as well here. Yep, that's what I want. Name, not null, because otherwise I can't use it in string comp. Like these. Otherwise, here I need to log a warning. It's annoying, alright, so I have to use the include the logging header user side, but it's fine. Yeah, with the logging, you always wanna state the error, I guess. So something like property not found, and then I can just do the name. And I guess actually I do this. Just section hierarchy. Oh, that's another header. That's fine. Like this. And actually turn like this. Okay. I have my own set. I can add a past. Now let's just do it always pass null pointer. I have to don't have to check. String compare. What the fuck? Okay. Okay. Return here. Okay, so now I need to determine the exact size in bits, right? So now I have my p, right? What does my p have? It has a name, which is actually const. Right, this one is const. Yeah, I mean, there's the case where the format deallocates, right? But right, there can exist a data object, but then the format deallocates, and then the pointer is invalid. But I don't know. This is just not the format has to level the date reduces. I mean, this is such a niche case, it doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna mention it anyway, right? So I'm on the safe side. So yeah, so now I have to... So the bits is actually set as well. Maybe I should implement this method first, right? How the ShareCode is generated. So I'm gonna keep the actual order always the same, right? Just delete this for now. Well, actually, just put it aside. Like this. You don't want to have any free lines here. One return the bottom. Then you want to have the same order, left and right, from declaration to implementation. So yeah, the deconstruct on top, add generic property, text property. Okay, generate all this. Already have this. It actually automatically does that. It's pretty nice. C line. Then make it pretty like this. One new line. Auto format. Okay. So I got format data. I want my ShareCode data. Yeah, then it starts. I need to do it. Make it a friend. ShareCode format. Why does it actually work? It's not a known type at this point, right? I think it doesn't actually compile. But if it's forward declared, it's fine. Interesting. There's actually no game dev. Yeah, so for each sub module I have, like ECS, entity, component, game dev, like a thing, right? Which there should be. Oh, there it is. It's actually not sorted. Graphics, that's something. I don't know. Should be part of core. Okay, so we have all the things. So the data, right? We can make an object, the user can't. That's the friend, right? So if to declare the friend, I have private access. But yeah, nobody else. So then I iterate for actually const p in properties here, because we don't change it. Data dot properties push back new instance. We can make it very clear. We can make ShareCode property data p data. I like that. So we can make it extra clear, right? So we don't use the initializer list, we just use the thing. Just assign the name, p data, and bits equals p dot size. So I want to use good naming here. I want to use the same. Refactor this. We want to use the same naming. Yeah, what's actually this? This is called types. Dot type. Okay, and type equals p dot type. Data. Right, and here comes the data, but the data is empty and only initialized with a null pointer, so null. And then return the data. Right, and this can of course be right const. And I'll discard it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we need to know exactly what is assigned and what's not. Right. Okay, so we have the name, which we check for here, the bits, and then the type. So we can use template meta programming. Nice. Just use this. Else. P dot type not integer. Log warning. Property is not of integer type. Like this, okay. Okay, now I actually want to do an interesting thing, right? So the interesting thing is I need to know the byte size and the bit size. So how we do that? First I can just get the size of the type, right? I guess how many bits are 0? Or like the last, right? Yeah, I mean the size in bits is then just the last non-zero bit. Let's ask. Interesting. So it gives me like something like this function. Log2, which I don't understand at all. Right, so I mean I like this, right? If it's 0 and it's 1 bit. Get bit size. Eric. I mean, it's the same actually true for floating points, right? I guess I can just make this. Worry about it later. Okay, yeah, I mean, ChatGPT thinks the same size is given by the last non-zero bit, right? Okay, I can use the bit width. I like this one much more. Right, then I always check the compile time. What is this bit headed? Is this a Windows extension? Okay, C++20. I mean, oh god, looks pretty cheap. What about score? Details. C limits, cheap. Common. Oh, type traits. Type traits, I mean, it's cheap. And C, I mean, C is cheap. Okay, that's fine. But I need to always check the compile time. This is actually templated. It is. That's cool. Let's actually want to check it out. So to test, we go into the main. And just kind of include our header we're working on. Game dev ShareCode. We make this is actually, is this a ton? No, it's, I mean, this needs to be. Now that I think about it, actually I never had the case coming up with like a free function floating around. Oh yeah, but for this type I actually have ton types. This kind of the right, but not have the include here. I mean, it's fun. Okay, so I could just use size. Okay, select this. And debug. Interesting. Here's outside integer. Well. We could. It's annoying. Yeah, I mean, I like this more, right? This is actually pretty ingenious. I like this one. I didn't even notice upgrade existed actually. So that's why is it a right shift? I'm almost confused. What a binary. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it should be a left shift. But it's like, I mean, the number is always turned around. That just throws me off. I always want to lead left to right, not right to left. I don't know. It's just. But still, then why do you right shift? So I guess this is then the first bit. I mean, I guess it's a little endian, right? Or something, I don't know. But I guess then the highest the high bytes are at the end, something. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because then you like, Wait, no, this. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's the first, and then you shift. Right, right. Okay, that makes sense. But I don't get this condition, it makes no sense. Wait, what? I mean, we can test that, right? 7. Oh yeah, that's actually true. Should be 8 power 27. Okay. 256. It's 9. What about minus 128? Interesting. Why do I not have to specify the names? Why is it actually 0 down? Right, because it's now I understand. Okay, we will actually check the numeric value, not the bit value. Oh, that's interesting. So we actually we shift the number and we don't check the bit. But we actually check the whole value of the number and just removing a bit per iteration. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But how do we do it for minus numbers? Because then the first bit is like 1. I'm just thinking, you can somehow just take the absolute value. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem in that. So for the minus numbers, can I just take the absolute value, measure the size? So in other words, does the positive presentation of a number have the same bit size as the miles number. Yeah, I would also guess so. Yeah, so I would just use num. Then I get 12. Okay. So if I test this now, if I do 31,000, should get 15. 32, should get 16. 33. Okay. 65. 5. 7? 70. Okay, yeah, so this looks good. Yeah, so I just bits equals get bit return get bit size from our data. The bits. I mean, I guess I actually don't have to care about if it's positive or negative. No, actually I do, because I'm not copying. I'm only copying a specific range. But I don't have to care, because here I'm using signed by default. I just check if it fits. I mean, I don't have to care now, but later when I generate the ShareCode, I do have to care. Yep, because like the problem is that I guess in binary, like the 1 is in the front, right? So it's like 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 1, and this would be like -3 or something, right? I mean, the converter doesn't know it, right? But, oh, it's actually showed a bit flip. So actually flip all the things, yeah. Except for the last, well, don't. Well, it's actually only the 1. Why is it only the 1? I don't know anymore. Oh, you add 1, right? Yeah. Oh, you take 1 away. That makes sense again. this, and then you flip. Okay, I mean, and then I can just p that into ShareCode data, and then right. So now I do if actually. Something like this. Then I like to always keep it in the same line, because it looks better. Like const. Okay. Else floating point, exactly. Copy this. I guess it's the same for floating point, is it? It doesn't. Yeah, I mean floating points don't like follow the same, right? They have like the initial bit and then the mantissa. Not the exponent and then the actual number. Right, it's actually fixed. I mean it's fine, right? That makes things easier for me. It's equal size of t times it. Right. last is the string. This does not work. Interesting. So I actually need to make this adjust. Yeah, I mean that's okay. I don't know. I guess I could make a macro for these three. Yeah. This is annoying. There's like little changes. That's how you can't really make a lambda, and here the bit part is missing. I'll probably just make a macro here. Like this. Just the util focus. That's loading. Just make a new one actually. At the bottom. Just help us define. I guess I should make these all namespace. What's that? Define. Like this. It's fine. That's a problem. Can't format the string. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I can just make the string. An argument. I don't understand. What? Let's do. That's funny. That's funny. Let's rename this check type. That's fine. Because like the enum parameter expand. That's wrong. I always want where? I don't understand. Interesting. Interesting. Right, I mean, this much makes it shorter and easier to read. And it's just purely static, right? Nothing's ever gonna change on this. Check. So, in this case, I like a macro. Okay, what's this? Just by index. Okay. I mean, just abstract this. What? Huh. Okay. I mean, yeah. I don't actually want to have this method, but I kind of have to, unless I make a friend method. I guess I want the friend method. But I still have the templates. I mean, it doesn't matter. So I have to specify the template in both. I guess I could actually get rid of the template by using like a char array and just copying the bytes, and then I don't know, but it's fine. Just makes it a bit harder to read. Right, so I can just do this. Interesting. I mean, I can just change that to p.name. It actually works with null pointer, right? Yeah. Actually, just be here. And Perfect. Just, yeah, then I can just do this. Just call the method set data. Then here, for distance size. Or equal to, right? If it's equal to, can't actually use a log. So capital I, return, set data, properties, index. Yeah. Down here, I don't actually like to have lines in between. Yeah, we delete it. But it's actually null. Yeah, it's actually null, right? So it doesn't matter. It's a deletion. Then we assign it. Have it freed. And then we reassign it. So it's never double free. Damn, but we actually can't. No, okay, that's right. It's a string, not the name. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So maybe do the thing. Name. Can I do that? I can. Name. Like this. Right, because I want to preserve the 0 point. How does that work? Oh man. Just do this. That's fine. Right, it's generic. I mean, I just don't have type checking. It's fine. That's honestly fine. Then just change the macro. If p equals like the thing, you know. Not equal to. Like this should be fine, right? So it's not equal, it must be not equal to generic, it must be not equal to the same time. Okay. Like this, like one space, no line. Okay. No line. Okay. Okay. Then I can do generic. Yeah, just put in the next line. ShareCode property. Yes, I like that way more. So a text property, bits, we don't have bits. But down here, we don't actually care. Just assign it. Do we actually want to set it here then? I guess we don't. So -1, so it crashes. And we see the error if there's one. So string. Actually want to rename this to string. Or text. I actually can't find text better because we already used string for the import and export. Add number. Okay. Add integer. So yeah, we assume the user knows what an integer is, right? But yeah, it's flawed. But I mean, do we actually need? Well, we don't. We can handle this for the user. True. Hail templates. Where is it? Property. Here it is. Damn, that's really nice. Wrong type. Here we can do it again. Can I not handle this in here? I mean, it's templated. What am I doing? Ah, templates. Templates, nice. Turn size of T times 8. Okay. Yeah, I mean, but the amount is already 0, like absolute value, like unsigned above 0, right? Because of how we documented it, should be only a number above 0, but it's fine either way. Okay, do we not need this? I mean, it's actually most of it's implemented. Only the export part is not. Damn, there's actually a lot of things. Left. Damn, I always make writing this wrong. Okay. Guess that's fine. It's private. Okay, so let's actually test a bit. Go back. Can make a ShareCode format that add a number. I'll make the maximum amount is 255. The name is my age. Actually, maximum age is like 25, right? Like, please save. Formatted add. Yeah, let's actually do the standard example, right? Like the employee software things. The name is the name. Okay, so I have an age and text and height. Like this. No. The maximum height, I would say 300 centimeters, of course. Okay. Then we get format data. We say data.set data age. I want to set to my age 22. Name I want to set to magique 606. And like this. Age, height. Let's actually use the thing. Index 2. Data is 178. Okay. Actually check this in a debugger. Okay. Pointed to G. I want to do a name. What is if it pass? The user passes null pointers data. I mean, I should allow it. Guess I have to do it like this. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. Remove. Okay. this is pretty straightforward. But for the compiler. Okay. Debug. Okay, we have our format. Format is empty. We add a name format. Name, it's -1. Text. We add a number. Okay, we have a problem. And then we have another number. Why is it still capacity 1? Seems to have a bunch of problems. Generic text number. Okay, and for test purposes, let's actually add a number property. 5. That empty name. The amount has to be integral. Okay, I guess I do it right now. Yeah, already doing it actually. It is integral v for value. Let's I mean, that's fine. Can be like a minus. Okay, so the next thing is the bits. Is integral. Should be integral. Man, that's pretty cool. But I mean, this looked fine. Interesting. I need 6 bits for 55. I guess that's true. I guess I can actually make it double. Can I do that? Right. some over this type I'm reading if it's integral float, right, which I shouldn't do. I can just say this is like an int, right, and then make it template explicit, but then I can just make two methods, I guess. It's just way clearer. That's the problem. And then I guess I like this one better. Like, you gave a concrete example, shorten the beginning a bit. Right, this is also like an easy implementation. I already did that. This is correct. Just kind of copy this. That. So I'm not gonna make an extra method. It's pretty short. You can get rid of this. This is fine. Type's always integer. Wrong type doesn't exist. Nice. Floating, and that's it. Okay. Add integer property. That just makes it explicit as well. Explicitness is also something I like very much. Ambiguous call. Why? Why? Long double. Signed int. Wait, what? Oh. Guess I could just make unsigned. Actually, I have to flip. Well, actually, I only to do this. So if it's integral, it's not unsigned, normalize it. Okay, we add merge properties. We get -1, don't know it, h needs 1 byte, height is bigger, it's 1 byte more. Then floating point, but this is wrong. Yeah, so floating point always needs if so floating points always need full size, right? If I guess that's just I mean, I'm kind of limiting here to like the 32 bytes, but I mean, who needs more than 32 bytes, I guess. But I mean, that's bad design. I can just make this UN64, right? Be done with it. Not really a big issue. And here I can do the same. Let's make it a double. Just if bigger than float max, bit is exactly the other way around. So it's bigger if float max, it's 64 bits, otherwise it's 32. Yeah, and that's it. Then get the form data. Let's check this real quick. For properties, it's pretty much the same. It initialized to 0, so we're going to see if the name, age, height, error, 32, 9a -1, and initialized to 0. Oh, we can actually check the set. An exception. Why here? What's null? Right, that's cool. Because here I was checking this name and yeah. Let's check the data. So the name data, I need to check the string, right? And the string is the string that we set. Interestingly enough, I know it has an integer. And then we have the age, we set the integer to 22, but it's not set. Why not? guess it defaults to double. Property not found. Name. Interesting. Right, I'm gonna return here. Okay, size of the data is created and specified. Let's check this on debugger. So here I want to set the age. I check the type. Type check comes back clean. The bits is 5. That's correct. Right, the condition is just wrong. So it's bigger, right? Equal still is fine. Yeah, this as well, just for clarity. Then I can actually hold this out, make it even cleaner. Right, I can't pull it out. Because that's being called. So I mean, I can't. Unless I rename it. That's fine. Because then it matches the bits of the string as well. Okay. So let's do this. Then we check the data again. If the string, if the integer 22, and then 2 was the height, it's correct. 78. Then the float with 3 we set. We produce a type error. Maybe we wanna return the index. We don't have the index. I mean, that's fine. Okay. That's 3. Floating, but it's 0. Point to F, because the size error. That float is actually float. No, it's not a size error. Just that's interesting, right? It's an easy mistake. Some people don't. And the warning is still wrong. Bits, but why is it? Right, that's why it's wrong. prefer. Yeah, I mean it's fine. Same line there anyway. Size great. Right, this should be this. I like this. You know, you can name it, but the name is optional. You can access by name or you can access by index, right? Even if you access by index, you can still name it to get better error handling. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like that. Yeah, so I don't get name information, but I can add an optional name. Let's say foot width. Yeah. And then I get a nice arrow. Yeah, I mean, I like it. And now you would have to do, like, I will do the generation. The actual bit generation, which is pretty easy. Yeah, I mean, if you just do this. If you handle floating points, yeah, just with the whole width, like if it floats just 4 bytes, that's just an easy copy, right? And copying the integer types is, you just copy the bits, it's easy. Yeah, I mean, that's it, you know, then just implement the 2 methods, and I'm just gonna do this. I have internal helper for this. And, actually utils, yeah, STL util, have a nice thing for the includes, leave a line between first party, third party, first party, and then relative includes the quotation marks, unordered delete, properties, index, but that's not how it works actually. It's the value. That's annoying. Yeah, so what it does, it actually just checks if it's empty or if it's the first, and it just iterates the container, tries to find a value, and then deletes it by moving the last element to the position of the element that should be deleted and popping the last, which is just a constant time deletion, which is pretty nice. And something I never really thought about. Yeah. So actually I need to have an object here that needs to be the same, but this operator equals implemented for this. Probably not. I guess just make manual loops. Loops. Right, but for this I have the pred. I remember. Unordered delete with a predicate, that's pretty nice. So you have a container and then a value, which is the name in this case, and then the pred. Then you return comp p dot return p dot. Equals 0 and p dot name equal name. So the actual, yeah, it gets passed first, then the value you pass in, right? So it's passed first the it, and then const char name, another format. This returns a void. Damn. Maybe I make it return poor. False. I mean, I don't want to change these. To be fair, these are working methods, so they are used a lot. That's fine. It's whatever. It's just a void. Okay, like this should compile. Can make it a bit cleaner. Say const auto pred, pull out the predicate. Actually, I meant delete. I mean, the formatting looks a bit off, but whatever. And then, I mean, here we can't actually. We can't actually use these methods, which is annoying, but. Yeah, because we're just searching for the index. And it's passed by. Can I actually? Is it? I mean, it's passed, but it's a const. Okay. I guess this would actually be like this. We'll see. I mean, just. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna be a lot of. Damn. I guess this works as well. But it's slower, right? It's fine. So, does it compile? It does. Whoops, it's too far. But it's not being called. So first, we remove the last format. To remove property foot width. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's nice. Added ShareCode. Added. Missing serialization. Other than that, just minor renames. Yep, I mean, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a little ShareCode feature right there. Thanks.